Gutfeld will be only late night talk show to keep cranking new episodes during writer's strike. Oh. Oh.
And I think you gave us a great start to that weeks
Would you
ago.
like to expand on your great idea? For
Well,
the
you know, it's tough for Harold. You're biracial, so you're just going to take money from one pocket and then put it in the other.
He pays himself for reparations?
Late night TV talk shows have gone dark due to the WGA writer's strike, all except one. Fox News Channel's Gutfeld will remain on television. Host Greg Gutfeld has non-union writers. I didn't even know he had writers. Gutfeld's writing staff is smaller than most traditional late night talk shows, per IndieWire. This article goes on to say that Gutfeld averaged 1.8 million total viewers last month, according to Nielsen, the most for any late night comedy talk show not hosted by Stephen Colbert. Gutfeld begins at 11 p.m., while most late night talk shows start at 11:35 or later after local news. Now, going back to Colbert, plus Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, and Jimmy Kimmel each have vowed to pay their staff out of pocket amid the strike. Kimmel did the same during the last strike, as did then host Jay Leno, David Letterman, and Conan O'Brien. All of that to say this: despite Fox News and The Five and these segments and the fact that conservatives aren't funny, it's alarming that Gutfeld's show would even have writers or producers who come up with these jokes, if we can call them that. I hope they get fair compensation, whether or not they are in a union. I hope they get in a union. Solidarity with the Writers Guild of America. You deserve work, even if you aren't good at it, even if you may be the reason why there are bad takes like this.
Let's say I'm a director.
You have to.
Okay.
Let's say, no. This is important. Let's say I'm a director.
Okay.
And I want to make a ski romance thriller set in Aspen in the 1970s.
Oh.
Jamie Foxx.
Are there going to be Asian and Hispanic and African American skiers?
Hawaiians.
Okay, it's just not believable. Okay, and then so what about the stagehands or the lighting people? They all have to be represented then? What if they don't want to film in 30-degree weather in the middle of Aspen?
Okay.
The film is going to suffer. My art is going to suffer.
What's more likely? Writers over at Fox came up with material like this, or the likes of Greg Gutfeld and Jesse Waters went rogue and decided to improv, or this was the result of an artificial intelligence prompt.
What's so funny to me about studios considering using AI to write all of our shows and movies instead of using writers is, like, I've pitched a lot of projects to executives, and all an executive really does is look at what has worked in the past and go, okay, so what's already worked statistically? Let's run the numbers and see what did well. That's why there's so many sequels, because they don't want to take a chance on anything new. That's all they're doing. They're just analyzing numbers, statistics, what's already out there. That sounds like something a robot could do much more easily than, like, write Game of Thrones. Right?
What's these communities? I'm curious because I always hear, I've heard this.
That's not.
It's not important.
Listen,
Okay, that's okay. I just was curious. What
do you want me to?
What city? Because we're told how bad it was, as if it never gets better. 1954 is how many years? 70 years ago? 60, 70 years ago? And we always have to go back. We're always looking backwards. We always act like the sins of the 50s are the sins now. Why hasn't your party improved this?
White Americans so cavalier in their assurance that America awards all citizens equal opportunity.
Why is he talking about it now?
Well,
what city is this happening in? Is it a democratic city? What have your party done instead of lecturing us on language?
This country and all of its systems, all of them are constantly working against Black people and in the favor of white people. And this isn't a stretch, nor is it hyperbole. It is a matter of fact. And this is why, to hear such ignorance from Greg on this topic, acting as if racism stopped in 1954, pretending that the harms associated with slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and now aren't the reason for Black Americans finding themselves in the very peculiar positions we occupy. This isn't just a simple joke, but instead it's a hurdle that this country has yet to jump over. And while we continue as Black people to languish in this racist hell that we call America, while our fellow citizens, especially those that are white, carry on as if we are lazy and only focus on harms that we didn't suffer. If you think I'm wrong, please watch this next video.
What are you doing? Rather than telling everybody that we're racist.
First of all, I did not say that.
I know, I meant you generally.
But don't, because me is the only person sitting here, and I took extra care to make sure to make this point in a thoughtful way that did not fall into the trap of this is just racism, but to talk about the fact that there are systemic challenges to Black people in this country that whites do not face because of where they live, because of the actions that our government took. So what have Democratic representatives done for people suffering from this? Well, they were the ones that actually got the Flint water crisis paid attention to. It took too long, but that was all Democrats fighting Flint. Not a big deal? Huge deal. I mean, kids are drinking lead-infested water. What's a bigger deal than that?
Now, there you have it. Even though Jessica goes out of her way to ensure she doesn't offend white fragility by saying that I didn't call you racist, even though when you make comments and the points that Greg were making, you are acting in a racist manner, which makes you a racist, she and so many other white Americans are afraid to stand on that point. And again, I would argue they make it impossible for Black Americans to ever see equity or full citizenship in this country. Because as long as we are the only people as Black people screaming as loud as we do for equity and about what is and what isn't racist, then it is impossible for us to achieve equity in this country. You have to be an imbecile to respond like Greg did. You have to be. And the sad part about it is it wasn't just him. Others on the show behaved in the same manner. If you watch their actions and their response to the facts that Jessica was pointing out about what it means to be Black in America and the institutions that are still holding us back. But what do we see the host do? They jump straight to a viral video about a pizza delivery driver reminding every Black person in America that pepperonis are more important than your life.
There are parts of rural America, too, where people don't have access.
And I sat here when East Palestine was ravaged by those chemicals, and I talked about how it was an atrocity.
Okay.
So don't do that.
Coming up, a pizza delivery man sends a bad guy on an unexpected trip.
Pepperonis and other pizza toppings and other silly topics carry more weight than being Black and equal in the United States of America. We should not pretend about that. That is the sad reality in which we exist right now, in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 1850s, and the 1860s, the 1750s, and the 1760s, and 100 years before that, and 200 years before that. America has never been home to more than 20+% of her population, those that are Black. We should not deny this anymore, for the data does not stand with those who try to deny the fact that America does not treat her Black citizens like her white citizens.